stated on the agenda item.
Second. We're done.
And we'll hurry and wait, because we're gonna take a vote here. I'll just saw
Oh.
somebody walk in, so let me, so we're in our
know
MBA
you.
meeting right now, and, our item of action tonight is to elect our officers. We just went through them, our current officers, and a motion is on the table to continue with the current officers that we have as it is from our 2024 election. So with that, there's been a motion and a second. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, very good. That concludes our MBA meeting, so I look for a motion to adjourn the MBA meeting.
I'll make such motion.
Thank you very much. I'll acknowledge it. I do not have to take the vote. Well, let me be official. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
What did I say aye for?
To go out of that meeting,
I
go
thought
out of
we
our
did that.
MBA. No, we just closed it, the MBA.
Start a new one now.
Now we get to go into a new one.
And the aye stood to open up. Never mind. I said aye, I don't care what that means.
All right. Okay, are you set on your next one?
I don't know, it's taking a minute here. There we go. Okay, you're good.
Okay, so now, Dave, we are ready to go into our redevelopment agency meeting, or our RDA.
Okay?
And once again, we have a set of minutes that we need to approve, which was from our November 6th of 2025 meeting. Does anybody have any changes or corrections? If not, I'll accept the motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
Yep. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much. We'll now go down also to the elections, which at this point, the only position we need to determine is our vice chairperson. And currently it is Clint Morris, so I'll open the floor for nominations for.
I nominate Clint.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second that we reappoint Mr. Morris as our vice chairperson. So all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, very good. That passes as well. We'll now go on to our third item of business, which we do have a amendment that we need to deal with on a development. And I'm going to turn the time over to Mr. Crowell.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. Tonight we have Resolution 2601, which is a first amendment to the agreement for the development of land between the Redevelopment Agency of Layton and Dreamland LLC. Dreamland LLC is Keomac. That's his landholding company. So this agreement is very simple. Basically, as was mentioned in November, if you recall, JL purchased the two southern lots that were formerly owned by Keomac at the end of the year. And so this just removes those two pieces of property from the previous agreement of Keomac's. And if you also recall, the JL agreement that was last approved actually includes these two pieces already in their agreement, if they decided to purchase the property. So that's all this does. And I'll just go down here so you're aware of this. But so the agreement as it's written now will just include the two top pieces of property for Keomac's agreement. And staff recommends approval, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Do you have any questions on that or any clarification? Nada?
Keomac, who's building?
Keomac. Currently?
Well, on that property.
JL will be building on the south property that's no longer in that agreement. This
Right.
property right here, Keomac is building.
So
on
Keomac
that
is,
as well.
okay, it's not the developer, it's the,
Correct.
right.
Yeah,
okay,
he
sorry.
broke ground on that piece and is
Yeah.
standing up another building there. So,
It's growing. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
that's
Oh, no.
turned into a new place.
The new building that's on the south end that Keomac has that is shown there, it was announced at the groundbreaking. That's a 68,000 square foot building. They have partnered with Deloitte Aerospace, and they're building military drones in that location. That wasn't originally what they had intended, but that's a pretty great partnership that now we will have in Layton.
That's neat.
Pretty exciting. They do a great job up there.
Yeah, that's,
Did they give an estimated number of employees that they'll?
They're gonna start around 80, and it'll go up from there, so.
Lady, new jobs here. Okay, if there's not any more questions, then I'll entertain a motion on resolution 26-01.
A motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved in second that we approve the redevelopment agreement, Layton City and Dreamland, or resolution 2601. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. It's unanimous. Okay, that concludes our agenda items for our RDA meeting. So once again, I'll look for a motion to adjourn out of our RDA meeting and go into our regular scheduled work meeting. Motion? Okay.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. 2 meetings down, to the go. Wait for Kim again. For a recording.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I read your look.
Do I have to say aye again?
No, I read your look.
Okay.
Okay, you're good?
Wow.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone out to our Layton City work meeting for February 5th. We'll go ahead and start out with our reports, and I'll start out with today's meeting. I did attend the Legislative Affairs meeting with the Davis Chamber of Commerce. They're formulating their watch list, basically, or their items of recommendation or non-approval. But today's meeting was really more about education, and they had 2 presentations one from Davis Tech, which talked about, just the concurrent enrollment with the high school kids and how that's working very well, and how closely they're working with Weber State on that, because as it sits now, all high school kids can automatically be enrolled into Weber State. So that's kind of cool. But then we had another presentation by Dr. Logan Kuhn, and it was pretty surprising. He reported as far as the reading level, and the fact that this year there is a bill at the legislature regarding the reading levels. And he said that one thing for all of us to be aware of is there's 2 different metrics on how they're measuring that. You have the state level, and then you have the national level. And depending on how you read those, you get flopped in the way that, one makes us look good and one makes us look bad. So the bill is going to try to say, okay, let's adopt one way of measuring this, and everybody go with that. But surprisingly, here's the scary part that I think all of us need to be aware of, and that is 70% of the 3rd graders are only reading at grade level. 70%. So that means there's 30% of the kids that can't read. And unfortunately, what happens is those kids continually get moved up each grade, and they still haven't caught up to any type of grade level reading. So there's going to be a big push there to kind of, hone in on the ability to kind of bring these kids up to grade level reading. And part of the bill basically says that they won't allow the kid to move up a grade unless they meet those grade level readings. So
Is that,
that's a good thing.
I'm gonna ask a question I'm not sure on.
Sure.
Is that because there are a lot of kids that don't speak English? Because you can't read English if you speak Spanish or
They did
German
not
or-
get into those metrics on it. They basically are just looking at it that these are, students that are in
Yeah.
the school system that don't
Okay.
read at grade level. I will tell you though, the
Yeah.
good part about, or not, for Layton City, we need to be proud, as far as, you know, what we're doing to help with that, is that's through the, you know, Communities That Cares kind of helps with the reading as a second, or, I mean, English is a second language, but
Yeah.
our My Hometown program, in addition to the resource center and then of course our service projects we'll be doing, we now have another group that has stood up a volunteers that will go into the elementary schools and help with that reading. And it took them a while to get that going, but because there was a lot of background checks that they had to go through and just the different groups and who's doing what and who will give us authority, but they worked through a lot of that. And the report that we received this week is we have 50 volunteers already that are devoting 2 hours a day to go in and
Wow.
help with this.
That's
So I have to say kudos to Layton City and the My Hometown initiative, so those are things that, you know, like I said, as elected officials, you need to be proud of and be able to speak highly of. Okay, my other report would be on Wasatch Integrated. We had a board meeting, and one of the things that is kind of interesting that they have to deal with, which, you know, everybody will eventually, and that is with the resolution of doing away with the penny.
Don't know why, oh,
With the penny. So they have, you know, going through the scale there, they do still accept cash. And depending on loads that they have to weigh or
Oh,
whatever,
oh.
they have to bill and, you know, change.
Yeah.
So what they're gonna do is they're actually gonna do the rounding. So if it's,
Like
you know, yeah, if it's 2 cents, they'll round down. If it's 3 cents, they'll round up, okay?
Yeah.
So they can do away with the penny.
Can we bring bottles in to trade? Just to get a nickel for every bottle.
Yeah, your aluminum cans.
Yeah.
The other thing that was interesting too, and I think if this passed, is typically on Labor Day and Memorial Day, the landfill's been open, even though that's a nationally recognized holiday, and pretty much all the other government agencies have been shut, are closed on that day. So what happens is the landfill, I mean, they're open, so they're paying over holiday pay for their employees. Plus then those employees, you know, I mean, they don't technically get a holiday, and those two particular holidays are really what, one is obviously to memorialize folks, but the other is in recognition of labor. So the board elected to go ahead and recognize those two holidays. So the landfill will be closed on those two holidays. And then, as far as Juneteenth holiday, they were gonna acknowledge it on the day that it falls, but there's also a bill at the state legislature dealing with when are they gonna recognize that particular holiday because it's bounced around so much. So whatever the state legislature does with that holiday, they will follow the same.
So they'll be closed on that day.
Yeah, whatever comes of that. So anyway, those are a couple items I needed to report on that board. Other than that, that's my report, so I'll turn it over to you guys for your reports.
Well, CTC has data. So we get our data from the SHARP survey that's done in the schools, 6th grade, 8th grade, 10th grade, and 12th graders, and it's every 2 years. And so we got the data for
Yes.
2024.
Yeah, just
2024 data was finally provided to us. We had a meeting this week, which is why I was in the LPC, so now back to you guys. But we have that data at the county level. It's available for everybody on the website, and I can send out an email or post it somewhere so you can see that. But for our local CTC, we have access to Layton City specific data. It's very proprietary, so we could even take pictures of the slides and all of that because, of confidentiality purposes and whatnot. But this data is what we're using to help identify our local conditions and make sure that the programs that we put forth for this year and the next year are programs that are going to specifically meet the needs of our Layton students and students who roll up to Layton High and Northridge. And so we had a really nice group. We've got some more folks who are on the data committee who are really excited about helping in this area. So I'll have more for you as we move forward, as we come up with like the conditions and what types of programs and projects we'll be working on. But there was a lot of good synergy in the room on Monday, so we're excited about that.
Are you able to see the data?
We, yes, not yet. Yeah, so we have access, we will have access to it. It has to be at a high level, of course, because of numbers, and once numbers get below a certain level, we don't even get that data.
Yeah.
But what the committee has and will be going through is the data broken out by cones. And the cones are based on our high schools. So any elementary, junior high that rolls up to Northridge, that is one cone, and the same for Layton High. And so what that allows us to do is to kind of decipher between some of the outcomes that we're seeing and see if it's in a certain area or not, so that we can specify which types of programs and services might help in different areas. What we've done in the past is try to do programs that would meet needs of everybody more broadly, and we'll still probably try to do that, but it's good to know if there's a particular circumstance in one area versus another. And so that's what we're doing now. Any of you are welcome to join the data committee, come to any of the meetings, and if you have not been getting invitations for those and you want to, please let me know, because all of your insights are very valuable. And that's not just for electeds, that's for everybody in the room and those who are watching online.
The recreation department just pulled a lot of data together, and so they finally come to the idea that they can have a dance for free. So, not that we haven't had a free dance for 25 years, but they figure they can do it again and we'll be okay. So the dance is tomorrow night, Valentine's dance, 6:30 to 8:30, right? Great band playing, it's always a great band. All they do is plug in, we use cassette tapes now and just let them play. So we got rid of the 8-track.
I was gonna say, you upgraded from the 8-track?
Yeah, we got rid of the 8-track. A lot of fun, but it's, it's a family affair. Kids are there, adults, grandparents, whomever, and they got all kinds of games and giveaways, and it's just a fun night. So anyway, just
Are you-
want to let you know there.
Are you gonna do the Macarena? Did you guys organize that?
I don't know about that one.
I don't
Can you
know
all
that-
play the Macarena?
Well, we can,
I don't know, I just
Usually
know
we-
there was talk at one time
Now-
about maybe
now-
doing
No,
that.
the popular one now is line dance. When we play Boot Scoot, it's like
Oh, yeah.
everybody's up, and I'm like.
Well, then you
"Are
better plan, you
kidding
better
me?"
plan on playing it.
Oh, we do. We even learned a new one, so we have two, because that's the only time everybody's up. But anyway, it's a fun night. We've been doing it for, I think this is our 25th year. I think, maybe 24, because COVID was in there. So they haven't kicked us out. But the 8-track got wore out. We had something to do. So anyway.
So cassette is where you.
Yeah, so we moved to cassette, yeah, I mean, hey, I'm in with tech, I know how it works. Okay.
UIA meeting's on Monday, so I'll be able to get some information then.
Okay.
Just go right by me.
You'll be at the planning.
You're learning.
Planning meeting, but even then, that rolls up to us. But if there's ever anything that you feel like we need to be aware of.
Actually, the only thing is I do want to mention, Tina, I'd like to get with you and you can educate me a little bit on your program.
Sure.
Might have a spicy planning commission coming up, people in my neighborhood. Yeah, so.
They're spicy.
from the league, over the years, maybe I'm just sensing the pattern now, they really just talk about the most important thing at LPC. They prioritize that due to everyone's time, and then the power of telling people, this is just it, right here, work on this. So property taxes, there's 4 or 5 bills that the state legislature is trying to, since there's been counties who have raised property tax and entities who have raised their property tax, keep raising property tax, that's now the rallying cry is anti-property tax. And when you look at it, cities were, I think it's 13% is the average of that property tax bill. It's not us. But cities that's our only lever to actually raise funds if needed. I mean, we haven't done that in a long time. And so there are bills. Senator McKay has a bill. He wants to cap, I think the caps they're negotiating the cap away, I think. But the other part of that bill is so with property tax we only get the same amount of money from the year before unless we decide to raise property tax. We understand that. Legislators, some don't understand that. They just think as your house appreciates, you pay more property tax, which isn't the case. But we also get new growth is added to the property tax the following year. And so there is a discussion on what that calculation means and figuring that out. So that's, the league's negotiating that with Senator McKay. There are a couple others. I think Representative Coford has a bill that wants to change on your primary residence, you don't pay 100% of, the property tax isn't on 100% of the value. It's 45%, 55%. And so the idea is to lower that so that there's less burden on the homeowner.
A new home.
But then the city stays, the city doesn't, we stay neutral, revenue neutral, which means that money now has to come from those who pay 100%, so businesses and those who have second mortgages in the city. And so the idea there is like, well, if you're gonna raise property taxes on businesses, what are they gonna do with that? They're gonna pass it along to
us.
So there's that. Representative Peterson from Clinton is working on a bill to have the truth in taxation be part of the regular budget process. So move it, while we're working on the budget, that's part of it as well. And so I think that's more I think that's the most palatable of all of these has been that one, because we're talking about the budget. If we have to, let's talk about it when we're talking about the budget.
Yeah.
And then there's another one by Representative Auxier from Morgan County, and that's a taxpayer's Bill of Rights, where the deal there is that residents would vote on every tax increase. You get a chance to vote as residents, so, which would probably be no every time.
Yeah.
So that's the number one thing that they're trying to negotiate and get done is to figure that part out. The state doesn't really have any property tax, so again, the legislators don't understand. They have income tax and they have sales tax, and so don't understand that cities. It's the only lever that cities have to raise revenue if they need it. So.
Does that apply to school districts? 'Cause
Yes.
School districts are 65%.
Yes.
65 to 70% of property taxes go to the district, so that's gonna really significantly impact the schools, and that's it.
Yes, all of the taxing entities it would apply to, but for some reason, the cities are the problem.
Yeah.
Are we the only one that's revenue neutral?
The cities?
The cities in that bill?
No, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know.
I just didn't know if we got a carve out. It's never happened before.
No, I don't think we have a carve out. No. No, so probably, so.
I think it was because we have such a small amount in there. And I think that's how they discussed it 2 weeks ago. And then I think Ken mentioned something about maybe meeting with some of those other entities. And I don't know what that has looked like since, to see if we wanted to have a united front.
Hmm.
But again, with cities having a much lower percentage of that, I don't know that that's something that we were
But if you had a cap,
interested in.
and it was a 5% cap, you'd imagine a small city or city,
Mhm.
like, you need to raise
Yeah.
a property tax to build, I don't know, a bridge or some sort of infrastructure. How long would it take to,
Yeah.
again, not that we're doing that, but to take that away from cities is misguided.
Was there any, if I can ask a question?
Yeah.
Any discussion from you about the irony of the state looking at this versus the over 100% increase that the state is proposing on water?
That's not a tax, Alex, it's a fee.
It just seems odd that you'd
Yeah.
be saying
Yes.
the cities have to be managed by a 5% cap, when what they're trying to force on cities and residents in cities is over 100% increase. And there's no need, in our city, for example, there's no need. And yet, if we don't agree to do that, then we won't have access to any state funds for water projects. It's $1,200, $1,300 for a home.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, I said, I don't know if the league is making a connection, but that, you think that might be maybe a legitimate argument, is what we're trying to reduce the tax burden. We have to think through those, at least be consistent in whatever the philosophy is we're trying to apply, but it doesn't mean good
Yes.
to reduce this and then
Right.
jack
Yeah.
this.
They understand that. We've
Yeah.
we've had
Yeah.
discussions with Ken on exactly this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is ironic.
I think someone in the legislature would say that we're not being consistent here, there is an irony. You know. But anyway, I'm not saying that negatively, but it's just
Mhm.
And we're gonna,
better
It's counterproductive.
better communication within.
Yeah.
Say what's the objective we're trying to reach, but
Right.
anyway.
that's it.
Okay.
I think it's a
All right.
problem of perception, and that's what we've talked about as well. Because of property tax, that's the new, not new, but that's the way that they are all saying in the legislature that they're going to address, housing affordability and food affordability and all the affordability. And so, because that's the narrative, that's what they're using. But we all know that. So having a concerted effort with cities together to really call out the thing and say what it really is, that's something that I think we've talked about.
Yeah, so if you stop the property tax and you lower income tax again, but then
Yeah, water tax.
water over here that's it's not coming from the legislature at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an agency, it's
Right,
and
that's perception.
and the water one comes from us.
Yeah.
It flows through us, even though we're not part of it, so
I've literally
yeah.
never heard anybody say, I can't buy a house because my property taxes are too high. It's not why they can't buy a house, it's
Right.
nothing to do with it. It's
True.
irrelevant.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
Okay, well, keep us abreast, so when we all need to battle, we'll battle together.
If I may, and I don't mean to interrupt.
You're
but
fine.
My property tax has gone up 45% since I moved to Beaver County in the last 5 years. And I'm being taxed out of my home,
Yeah.
so.
Well, and I was meaning new people who are trying to buy a house,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
The reason why they can't buy a house, they don't even get in a house because they can't pay property tax if they aren't actually in the house because the housing affordability is way too high. So you can bring down property taxes, but don't tell me if that's because why people can't get into a house in the beginning,
Right.
because that's not necessarily true.
Okay. Anything else? Otherwise, we'll go ahead and move the meeting on to our favorite part of the year where we get to have a specialized training
Yeah.
by our city attorney, Clint Drake. So Clint, we'll let you take over the next 3 items here.
Thank you, Mayor. So before I start, just a question, how much time do you want for the remaining items? What time do you want me to be done by?
Morgan, how much time do you?
I only need a couple minutes. I'm quick.
Okay, Brad?
2 to 5 minutes. It depends on your
What you
questions.
guys?
So
I'm quick to.
finish up by six, be done by 6:30, give you
Quick
30
burgers.
minutes to,
Yeah.
okay.
Or
Yeah,
6:05.
6:05? I'll do that too.
1 minute per item. Record timing.
Okay, well, just as a reminder, this is our annual training. It is required, some of it is required by law, some of it is required by IRMA. All of it is a good idea, so although it may be redundant for some of you that have been on councils and boards for a lot of years, it is important to have these reminders and discuss this. Feel free to ask any questions at any time. As always, we'll send you out a letter that just certifies that you've had this training too, in case any boards or other things that you sit on, you can provide them that and maybe get you out of having to do it twice in the same year. So we'll go ahead and get started with the Open and Public Meetings Act. I don't know why it's not, oh there, it was just really delayed. Okay, so just a little bit on the public policy. We're not going to read these word for word, but this is straight out of the Utah Code. The whole purpose of the Open and Public Meetings Act is so that we can take, we meaning planning commissions, city councils, boards, any type of city or county or state or local government board, take your actions openly and have the deliberations openly. So we just want to make sure that we do everything out in the public, that the public's aware of it, that it's properly noticed, and that those discussions are had in the appropriate place at the appropriate time. So what is a meeting? We will read this one. A meeting is the convening of a public body or a specified body with a quorum present, including a workshop or an executive session, whether in person or by means of electronic communications, for the purpose of discussing, receiving comments from the public about, or acting upon a matter over which the public body or specific body has jurisdiction or advisory power. We went over a little bit last meeting about quorums and things like that, and in what ways members of city councils and mayors can meet, so I won't go over that again. What is not a meeting? A chance gathering is not a meeting. A social meeting is not a meeting, so even though I just called it a social meeting. But it's, but for example, the Christmas breakfast, if you all happen to be at the Christmas breakfast, that's not a meeting.
We didn't see you at the Christmas breakfast.
Yeah. I was afraid I was gonna get too many questions. No. Sorry. Electronic meetings. You can have electronic meetings, and we do. All the notice requirements still apply. The public must have a means to attend, and the electronically attending member has to have a way to be able to communicate and meaningfully participate. That has to be something that's adopted by rule of a council or ordinance in order to do that. Some cities have standing rules and ordinances, some do it every meeting. I've seen it done both ways.
Just, Ed, question?
Yes.
I've never seen more than one be gone, but what if there was 2 or 3? I mean, can you handle that on?
Yes, in the conference call, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, and that's, and legally it's fine, so,
Yeah.
yeah. Of course I can handle that.
Yeah, of course.
Then we have closed meetings. Utah Code does allow for public meetings. It's closed, you can only have closed meetings for limited circumstances. Just remember that all closed meetings start as open meetings. And that's that whole voting process that we're all familiar with. These are some of the reasons that you can have closed meetings: the character and competency of an individual, discuss security personnel, device, or systems, investigative proceedings, strategy sessions for the sale or lease of real property. There with that little asterisk, regarding the sale, lease, or exchange of real property, any type of agreement still must be approved in an open meeting. You can't approve anything in a closed meeting. Closed meetings are still recorded, and there is one exception to that as well, and that's that first one. To discuss an individual's character, professional competence, or physical or mental health. There's obvious reasons for that, why if you're discussing that might not be something that you want to have recorded. In order to do that, the presiding authority, in this case, the mayor, would have to sign a document that basically says, yeah, that was the purpose of the meeting, and that's what we talked about. There are no meetings that must be closed. It is always discretionary. The process to close a meeting is quorum must be present, 2/3 of the body must vote to close the meeting, must start out in an open meeting, and then this one is what the law says is each vote by name of each member for or against, the reasons for holding the closed meeting, and the location of the closed meeting. Yeah.
So to go into a closed door meeting, I should be taking roll call vote.
Well, like I said, we talked about this once before, and I think as long as it's unanimous, that's fine.
Okay.
Because you can still say by name, yeah, everybody voted this way or the other. But
Okay.
if there was a yay or if there was
If it's a
an
nay,
opposition vote, then I would say
Then I
you
would
need
do
to
a roll call.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep. These are the things you can't do in a closed meeting. You can't approve any ordinance, resolution, rule, regulation, contract, or appointment. There may be reasons why you may need to discuss those things, but again, that would be something that you would discuss in a closed meeting, but would have to go out into an open meeting in order to have any sort of approval. You can't interview or discuss a person to fill an elected position, and you can't take any final actions on anything. The notice requirements, Kim's really good at this. Just give you a little bit of an idea of what's required. And there are some things, particularly land use related or budget related, that have additional requirements. But in general, you have to have written notice of the place where it will be held, at least one I guess I needed to update that. This changed a little bit. The Utah Public Notice website, and it has to be at least 24 hours before the meeting. You've got to have the agenda, the time, and the date and the place. Basically, you just want to make sure our citizens know where to be and where to attend.
So since it doesn't have to be posted like in the newspaper anymore, I mean, I know we use our website, does that take the place of that locally circulated, or else do we have to have it?
Kim could probably answer this better, but you've got the Utah Public Notice website, and then we post it here on our board out here, and then we post it on our website. And then, is there anything else that we posted? There are some ordinances that require certain things that are really unusual that happen once every blue moon, but.
The Utah Public Notice website took the place of the newspaper publication.
Right.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. There's also such thing as an emergency meeting. The law does allow for that. In that case, you may not have 24 hours. If there was a natural disaster, if there was something that required the council to get together, then what the law requires is the best notice practicable at the time. And then the minutes should include a statement of the unforeseen circumstances.
We have one of those.
We do?
We did.
COVID?
Yeah,
COVID?
yeah.
COVID?
Yeah, we did. I thought you meant now. I'm going, what?
No, we did.
No, we did, yeah, back when COVID hit.
Yeah,
You had to-
Yeah.
quickly.
Just remember that written minutes we have written minutes and recordings of our public meetings. They must be kept. Kim does an excellent job at that and keeps us up to date on all that stuff. You obviously have an opportunity to review those minutes and approve them. This doesn't happen, but I have seen it happen once or twice in my career where somebody will say, well, this is what I meant to say. You can't have the minutes reflect what you meant to say. They have to reflect what you did say. So just keep that in mind. Public meetings, records, they're open in public. We post them on our website. They're available. If people ask for them, we'll provide them. Really transparent about that. It's just the requirements for minutes, date and time, the people that were present, who was absent, the matters of substance that were discussed, individual votes on matters, and any additional information requested by a member. This is one of the reasons why we don't, when the mayor invites for public comment, that we don't respond. I know sometimes that can be frustrating to citizens, but it's really not something that's noticed, and it's not something that we should deliberate on and have conversations about because it's not publicly noticed. And so to be consistent with the law, amongst other reasons, that's why we don't do it, is it's not noticed. And say, for example, somebody came in and said, hey, I want to talk about this big piece of property over here that's about to develop, and I want to have this conversation, and the property owner's not there, and it just creates a mess. So that's why the mayor does a really good job of letting people know, yeah, we're not going to respond, but we're listening. And it's good for the public to hear that, because sometimes I think people who don't understand that can be a little frustrated, like, well, you're not listening to me.
Well,
Yeah,
so
we don't have an
maybe-
opportunity to.
Maybe, I mean, you could just add a sentence, you know, the stuff you say during your public comments are not noticed to the public, so we can't deliberate on them.
Okay.
Because then that, otherwise it
That-
looks
that
like.
clarifies it
yeah,
better.
Otherwise it just looks
Gives a
like
reasoning.
we're not talking to you because we're scared to talk to you, we don't care what you have to say, when that's not ever been our approach, but
Yeah.
just that line would be helpful, then they don't feel like, okay, that makes sense, why they can't.
Could we add that statement in the agenda, as the public
Oh,
comment?
for anybody that picks it up, that's a good
Add it
idea.
In there, in the agenda,
Yeah.
because that's new to me, and I've been coming to these things for over 20
Yeah,
years, so.
so you might have been wondering,
So
why
I'm
has
one of
nobody
the-
ever
I'm one of the
responded to me?
ones I'm
Yeah.
gonna pound on someone because they're not taking me serious.
Yeah.
or s-
Yeah, it's, like I said, there's other reasons too. We might not have the staff member here with the knowledge to respond. There's a lot of other good reasons, but mainly, I mean, the big one is we gotta be compliant with the law. We try not to talk about things that aren't there. You know, there's little things that aren't really deliberation, like you guys make your council announcements like you just did, and you might do in the regular meeting, but, you know, those aren't really deliberation. Those are just more announcements, and so, yeah, I don't think I think that's a great idea.
Do you
So-
want, well, there's that handout that shows reflects about the citizen comments. Do you want it on the agenda or on the
Whatever,
citizen
yeah,
comment?
whatever they
I
like.
would just put it on the agenda because the agendas
Down
are
there.
available.
The agenda, yeah.
Yeah,
And,
Yep.
just put citizens comment and
Yep.
statement, just a
That's a
one-line
good idea.
I
statement.
got a follow-up question to that. So when can we engage with someone that reaches out to us in the public comment?
So, you can engage individually anytime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, even 2 council members could engage somebody, but 3 could not. And the mayor and 2 council members could.
I
but
just wanted
3
to
could.
clarify that. I assumed
Yeah.
that, but it's
Yeah,
better.
yeah, you can obviously do it. And your rules are a little bit different as elected officials than, say, like the planning commission. The planning commission, I advise to really stay away from any type of interaction with the public. That's not their role. It's not their.
They're appointed
Right,
versus.
well, they're appointed and right, and their job, they do have some quasi-legislative authority, but much of what the planning commission does is just making sure that applications adhere to the code and just verifying whether those things happen or not. Conditional uses might require some additional stuff, but I've always said it's a bad idea if a developer reaches out to a planning commission member to say, go out and meet on the property with the developer. It just gives a look of impropriety. And if that ever does happen, or if, say, for example, planning commissioners receive an email, I always just advise them, hey, you should just, and they let me know, I just say, yeah, you should disclose that at the meeting. Say, just want to let everybody know I received this email, I forwarded it to everybody, I want to make sure everybody's on the same page. I didn't have any conversations with them, but this is something for you to be aware of. So we really do try and strive to be as transparent as possible, and that's one of the ways, yeah. So a planning commissioner, like I said, is just a little bit different. And developers and applicants don't necessarily have the same rules, so, you know, they're used to having those conversations, so sometimes they don't understand as well. So that's why I always encourage council members, planning commission members, whoever it is, if you run into something like that, give me a call. Jade's our attorney that works with the planning commission. Give Jade a call. We can help walk people through those situations.
Hey, Clint,
Yeah.
on that public comment piece, or not even public comment, citizen comment, because it's different. I understand why, you know, it would be probably beneficial on a legal standpoint. But if it's not something that has to be, like a decision has to be made on, or we have deliberation on, I mean, there have been times when, you know, the mayor's given opportunity and said, okay, yeah, we'll engage in this instance. So ultimately, doesn't that sit with the presiding person?
Yeah, for sure. It's just, like everything that we do, we just try to be consistent. It can potentially put the mayor or whoever is presiding at the meeting in a difficult position where they have to make a judgment call on the fly.
Mhm.
So for me, the default on that one is always just when in doubt. In that case, just say, you know, default to that rule, just so that we don't end up having those types of deliberations. The other thing that I feel like this council and staff and Alex are really good at too is there, a lot of times, myself or somebody, Steve or somebody from planning has gone out in the audience and grabbed a number and said, hey, yeah, look, we're listening to you, and the mayor will say, yeah, well, let us get your number and we'll follow with you. Those, that's totally fine.
So we could ask that in the public comment, could you please provide Kim
Yeah,
your phone number
absolutely.
or an
Yep.
email that, because now
Yep.
it's strictly just name and city, where before we were providing an address. But
Yeah.
now it's just, we ask
Yeah.
them to state their name and city, correct?
Yeah, and I don't know where that address thing ever really came from. It's never been something that's required by law. It's just like cities did it, so everybody did it. I think it is relevant and important to know if they're a citizen, or a business owner, or some, what their tie to the community is, but yeah. Sorry, were you gonna say something, Alex?
Yeah, sometimes we try to ask for their phone number personally, not over the microphone. So
Right.
Yeah,
So something
yes.
said that.
No, which makes
all the
sense,
people in
makes
the world,
total
but yeah.
sense.
She's
Yeah.
referencing way back.
Yeah. Yeah, and when kids come up, which is rare, I generally like kids not to really say much about who they are, just let the kids come up and say what they're gonna say, if they're a minor. And then just to keep on track here, because I've got some ways to go still. We've, Open and Public Meetings Act, you could be guilty of a Class B misdemeanor, or could be guilty of a crime for violating the Open and Public Meetings Act. That falls to violating meetings, where if there was like secret meetings, where there's quorums being present, that's a violation of the Open and Public Meetings Act. When we have closed meetings, that information is not to be shared outside of that meeting and with the people that were present at that meeting, unless there's an obvious reason. Say, for example, we were talking about this purchase or sale of real estate, and the council gives staff direction to go negotiate with these numbers. Obviously, we have to do that. It's not a decision. That decision would still be made in an open meeting, but that obviously would require us to go out and reach out to a property owner and have those conversations. So just be aware that the closed meetings are just that. It really does have to stick with the people that were present at the meeting and not go outside of that. So what a court can avoid any violation of the law. A lot of times the cure is to go back and do it again in a public way. And the city may have to pay court costs and attorney's fees if that ends up being a problem. Who can enforce it? The courts can, the AG's office can, the county attorney's office can, and a private citizen who's an agreed party can. So that's a pretty wide variety of what we call in the law standing. There's a lot of people that have standing for that. So, and then just know that the corrective actions are 90 days unless it involves bonds, notes, or debt. The reason for the shorter time on the bonds, notes, or debt is once the wheels start moving on, you might have a bond that's $20 million or something like that. 90 days down the road, there's been a lot of time, effort, and money expended, and it's basically too late at that point. So, my favorite slide: sunlight is our best disinfectant. I know you do as a mayor and council strive to be transparent. We do too as a city, and we think it's very important. Just to move on to the Municipal Officers and Employees Act, there's a section of the code that governs basically conflicts of interest and ethics. So the purpose of the Ethics Act is to establish standards of conduct for municipal officers and employees to require these persons to disclose actual or potential conflicts of interest between their public duties and personal interests. So most of you have heard me talk about this before, but I would just say, when in doubt, disclose. If you feel like there's a conflict, again, you can always call me. I'm happy to walk you through that. But if you ever feel like there's a conflict, there's a couple ways to do it. We have disclosure forms that we file annually with the city that talk. There's certain laws that are required, and so we have a form that you fill out, and you can talk about whatever conflicts you may have. And then sometimes you might just have a conflict that you want to disclose in a meeting. And so my advice on that is if you have a conflict in a meeting, that you should publicly disclose that and then recuse yourself from the room. That way you can't be accused of having any type of undue influence on the discussion. Once that agenda item is complete, then we'd go out and invite you back into the meeting. So the law does not require you to recuse yourself. It only requires you to disclose. And the standard that I've always said is that whether or not you have to ask yourself, can you render a fair and impartial decision? That's kind of the rule of thumb with that, and if you can, you don't necessarily have to disclose, but I would also caution you, when there is the optics that look like there could be impropriety, that it's not always a bad idea to recuse yourself. That's just a personal decision that you'll have to make, and like I said, I'm happy to have those conversations with you and walk
So
you
if
through
you
the act.
recuse yourself, you say you don't have to, do you still have to leave the room?
I say yes, because if you're gonna recuse yourself, then just leave, so that somebody can't say, well, you know, they recused themselves, but then they sat there on the dais and looked at everybody and scowled at them whenever they said something that was against their interests. So I think the best action is just to just leave the room. That way, nobody can say, look, they recused themselves, but they sat in there the whole time and had an influence.
Would that go for the work meeting also?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, and I've had that back, I used to have a planning commission member in another city that I worked for that would always, we'd have these, basically like a work type session meeting, we'd sit around a table, and then at the end, they'd do a vote, and he'd say, I recuse myself. You just spent 20 minutes talking about it. And no matter how many times I told him that, he would still do it. So he was a great guy. He was a surveyor, and he just ended up surveying a lot of things that the planning commission would see in front of him. And anyway, so yeah, work meetings, all the meetings, yeah, same thing. Just recuse yourself, and we'll come get you when it's over. So the act does two things. It sets up the disclosure, and it describes the crimes that you can commit. So basically, the criminal acts are, you can't use your office or position to benefit yourself or others. So an example that I like to use on this is just simply this. Say, for example, you were able to receive inside knowledge about some sort of a business that was coming to the city, and they were going to locate in an area of the city that there was some land for sale around there, and you knew could become very valuable once they come. That would be a bad thing to go out and try and buy that land abutting the business that was coming, because you have that insider information. So it really it really focuses on economic privileges. Are you going to make any money off of it? How does it impact you? And the special privileges. To a certain extent, everything you do impacts you, right? And you're a member of our community. You're a resident. You hopefully everything you do, you vote, because it benefits the community. We're not talking about those things. We're talking about economic benefit and special privileges.
So, real
Yeah.
quick, I know you got 6 minutes, but we just were chatting. Do the legislature has to do the same training that we just did, or it doesn't apply to them?
Have you ever looked at, so in government employees have one set of rules legislated in the code. The legislature elected people have another set. So an employee cannot accept anything over $50. And then back when the jazz became really good, they changed the law so that politicians, basically legislature, could accept jazz tickets, sporting events.
Because
And this
it
actually
costs more.
became a real big issue during the 2002 Olympics. That's when they started to make this move. So there's two sets of rules, or two codes. Am I correct, Clint? It's been 15 years, 10 years since I looked at them, but.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
forgive me, and maybe relating back to an earlier discussion, I feel like there's two sets of rules for the state, and that's in a lot of ways. But yeah,
I just wanted
Very
it on
good.
the record,
they don't
that's
have
all.
the same, yeah. Yep. So, just to be sure, it's a crime to disclose a private, controlled, or protected information. It's a crime to use or attempt to use your official position to substantially further your personal economic interest. Sometimes people go substantially further. Like I said, if you're making a decision that benefits the city, right, like think about some of the things the decisions you've made to help the community prosper. Obviously, you benefit from it too as a resident. We're not talking about that. We're talking about, a real economic interest. You can't knowingly receive, accept, or take gifts and economic benefits. I think we all understand and know the reason for that. And you can't receive compensation for assisting somebody with a transaction with the city. I'm going to skip that because we're running out of time. So disclosure, just a reminder, you're required to disclose if you have an interest in any business entity that does business with the city or is regulated by the city. That's on that form that we talk about, and then just any personal interest or conflicts that you might have with your public duties. So disclosure, I already talked about this, so I'm gonna skip over it, but just remember, well, I think the critical one there is, aside from the law, is how will it be viewed by the public? Does it build our community? Again, sunlight is the best disinfectant. And then we will quickly do this one, not because it's not important, it absolutely is, but we'll go through this pretty quick. So, same thing, IRMA requires the sexual harassment training. You're all very aware and probably were involved in this, just, our values as a city. And I think in particular with regards to this, it's that first one, the people. Trust, communication, respect, and recognition. Those are all critical components of our sexual harassment policy. So what is it? It's unwelcome sexual advances, it's requests for sexual favors, it's other nonverbal or verbal or physical conduct that affects the person in employment, interferes with their performance, or creates a hostile work environment. So yeah, as council members, you are absolutely subject to our sexual harassment policy, so just be aware of that. Far and away, the most common claim that the EEOC gets and the lawsuits come from is hostile work environment, far and away. And then accompanied with that is almost always retaliation. Retaliation is a huge one, and we'll talk about that here in a second. There's two types, the quid pro quo, which is a Latin term for this is that. That one is less common than we see. The hostile work environment is much more common. Just basically making the workplace a terrible place to be, feeling threatened, feeling anxious, feeling stress, those types of things due to somebody else's behavior. So really quickly, we've got offenders, we've got victims, and we've got bystanders. Really quickly, victims don't just have to be the people that are the direct target of the harassment. It can also be people that have to kind of sit there and take it, right? And that observe it or are around it or hear about it, and those are also the bystanders. It occurs at all levels of employees. A supervisor can be sexually harassed, a director can be sexually harassed. That's generally not what it is, but it absolutely can happen. We take prevention very seriously. We do this training in much more in depth we take about an hour with each of our employees every year and go through this in depth. The reasons why it's important is, number one, we want a safe environment where our employees like to feel safe and like to work. It's part of our core values. We don't want to turn a blind eye to it. We want to be in compliance with our policy. And we want to comply with federal law and state law. And then, for me, we also want to avoid liability. So these are our policies. Our policy manual can be found online, or we can get you a copy anytime if you ever wanted one, but these talk about the different things: harassment, workplace violence, consensual romantic relationships, and social networking. So just a couple things here. Just know that, well, first of all, we updated our consensual romantic relationships in the workplace policy earlier this year, and we were concerned that employees that maybe where there were an power imbalance, we were concerned that the policy didn't quite go far enough to protect them, where they might feel like they didn't have the ability to disclose something to not be involved in something where, let's say, it's a supervisor or something like that that's making romantic advances against them. So we have basically a disclosure system now that requires each party in a romantic relationship to disclose that to the department director. They need to do it individually so that there's no coercion or undue influence, and that way it protects both employees from any accusations of harassment or using a position as a way to get into a romantic relationship. And then it also requires them to tell us when it ends, because as we all know, a lot of relationships don't end so great, and it's important for us to know that so we can take appropriate measures to protect our employees. I think it's a really good change. Alex and Jamie and I worked on it for a long time, tried to really design a policy that really protects our employees, and I think it'll be great. I think it'll be really good for our culture. And sexual harassment is, as long as I've worked here, has never been a huge issue, but we want to make sure that it stays that way. And then just remember that it can happen online, and unfortunately it does. Just because we go home doesn't mean that you can't harass or sexually harass your coworkers. So basically, just real quickly, we expect our employees to bring credit to the city. It doesn't matter whether we're on or off duty, and we just need to be honest in word and conduct at all times. It's a big emphasis for Alex and for the department heads, and it's a critical component of why our culture is so good. I'll just be real quick here and just say that harassment is not tolerated at any levels. I'm grateful to work for a mayor and council that support this. I'm grateful to have worked with Alex and for Alex, who I know supports this, and I've seen him support this in ways that are really meaningful to our employees and to our culture. So just know that we work really hard at this. Employees need to know that they have a responsibility. If they're aware of something, they need to report it. Otherwise, it just becomes that hostile work environment that we were talking about. There's a lot of ways for employees to report. So just so you're aware, these are all the people that they can report it to. We tried to get cast a wide net so that whether it's a supervisor or not a supervisor, male, female, whether it's in your department or not, that you can disclose that. So to their supervisor, to their director, to the city manager, to the city attorney, any of the assistant city attorneys, the HR manager, any of you. So just be aware if you do get that the first thing, your first step should to let Alex and me know so that we can handle it appropriately from an administrative level. And then we have this harassment investigation team that consists of these employees that they meet fairly often and just make sure that they're up to date on all this stuff. So that's just making a complaint. We don't need to do that. We investigate. Our duty is to investigate fairly and promptly, and we will do that. We try to protect identities as much as possible. It's not always possible, but we do it to the best of our ability. Retaliation is the thing I talked about. It's a huge problem, not here, but just nationally. If you look at the EEOC statistics and the charges, which is basically a claim, it's crazy. More than half of the charges, whether it's discrimination, harassment, whether it's discrimination based on sex, religion, race, doesn't matter, it almost always is accompanied by a retaliation. So that's why we train on this very hard, because we want employees that feel like they've been harassed to know that they will not be retaliated against. It's a very critical component of a disclosure system and a culture. So the responsibilities for employees and the council is to know this policy and procedure, to report it when appropriate, and to cooperate and to support the victims of harassment. And then just a reminder, those are our values, which is right there, the trust, communication, respect, and recognition, which creates the great culture that we have here that you are a huge part of, and we very much appreciate your support. And that's it.
Dick, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Now you can all have our letters of
Yeah, well,
passing.
Sharon was out this week, so I would have had them for you already, but
That's okay.
we'll get them to you next week.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on, because we've got, 3-4 more items here, so, Morgan, let's go
Yep.
ahead and turn the time over to you.
Okay, just quickly, it's that time of year when we start to research and put together our annual action plan. And that covers this will cover the program year 2026 to 2027. We're currently in the middle of our program year 2025-26. And the plan outlines how the city will allocate its allotment of funds from HUD during the upcoming program year, and the main objectives of the HUD are to focus on housing affordability and self-sufficiency. And we'll probably have a few of our partners here just to comment, to let us know what they've been up to, and to encourage the council to approve the plan so they can be part of that plan for the upcoming program year.
Okay. Is there any questions or adjustments?
I got one question. I reviewed the 2024 plan, and there's a 20%, if I remember, which is what is the max allowed for administrative costs.
Uh-huh.
So I'm assuming that's administrative funds that we're using from HUD to pay for our staff's time. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Have you done actually analysis to see what, if that 20% ACWA covers our cost?
It doesn't.
Or it doesn't?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a good idea of what?
It covers about 3/4 of the year. It mainly covers my benefits and wages. Yeah.
100% of your time's devoted to the project?
Most of my time. I'm also working with my hometown Layton initiative, involved with that, and also some economic development tasks, yeah.
Business seminars?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
that's
just had
true,
our
yeah.
small business seminar today, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
That's a good program. Yeah, thank you. Okay, any other questions? Did you get other people applying for any of the, I know in the packet you gave us the breakout. Was anybody else in?
Yeah,
Okay.
there was someone that talked to you the other day with, it was like Davis County Links or something?
Oh, yeah.
Sound familiar?
Yeah, yeah.
I think they're gonna be here tonight.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that will pan out, just because the
Does
funds
it
have to be.
meet the qualifications?
The funds have to be, like I said, focused mainly on housing activities and, you know, helping people with self-sufficiency. And we're limited to a 15% cap on our public service partners. So we carve out 15% of our budget for Open Doors, Safe Harbor, Lantern House, and Youth Court. So if something like that were to be included in the plan, we'd have to put it under that public
We'd
service.
have to adjust the
We'd have to put-
allocation.
We'd have to put it under that 15%, yeah.
All right. That works. Okay. All right, next up,
All
Brad.
right. Well, this is a pretty straightforward rezone request, opposed to some of the others that we've seen recently. This is just the area where it's located in the city, also out in West Layton, just off of 2700 West, Gentile Street. It's got these properties here. Most of it is all agricultural. You do have some properties here that are the RS PRUD. And then you can see that area. So this is just the whole area that the developer is requesting to rezone. The applicant on this is Ivory Homes. You can see this is a concept plan that they've included with their application. We wanted to make sure, and you probably saw in your packet, that the concept plan is just that. It's a concept plan. There are some adjustments that they need to make to this plan in order to meet engineering requirements and standards. And so with that, you know, we've already been working with them on adjustments that they might need to be making to this plan. You know, part of that might be that there could be a connection to Gentile Street. There's some other issues with, you know, how they provide the utilities. But generally speaking, this is about what the subdivision would look like. All of the lots, as we've gone through and looked through the concept plan, they would meet the standards of the R110 zone. And it's just a straight R110. The designation of the general plan is
Wait a minute.
neighborhood agricultural heritage, which, you know, a PRUD could be allowed, but it's not required, and so it can't just be an R110.
Hey, question, so who brought up the connection to Gentile? Is that something that
That's-
they're asking, or you, or are we?
No, it's something that Ivory has brought up in order to connect to utilities. We think it might be too close to this intersection
Yeah,
here.
that's what I was gonna say. Why
So we're
why
not
would you
thinking
push
that that's an actual viable option. So
Okay.
just in our discussions, they brought that up, and we're like, we'll have to look at it with engineering, but we think it's too close to the intersection.
Thank you.
I got a question. So it was called Bark Park?
Oh, the Bark Park?
Oh, yeah.
That's.
That's still, that's not owned by Ivory?
Yeah, the parking lot, they're
Yeah.
still in the process of working through that with them. But, yeah.
How, do you recall, well, you weren't here, but do you recall what kind of zoning was that still left in agriculture at the time?
I believe so, yeah, it is still agriculture of the zoning there. So yeah, you've got agriculture on that part of the property, which is the parking lot, and then this large piece, and then these three pieces are all RSPRUD.
Are they owned by other people?
They
Or
were
just-
owned by,
Okay,
they were owned before, but Ivory has acquired those properties.
okay.
A key component of, like, a key thing to kind of know is that the subdivision here to the west, all of these lots, like, even though they have cul-de-sacs on them,
Mhm.
it is on the plat for that Bella Vista subdivision that those roads would go through. And so those cul-de-sacs, the developer would work with the city to straighten those out. So then those homes, they don't have, this was a question that was brought up at the planning commission, do those property owners lose property? They don't actually lose property, they would gain property.
It's funny how you'd have a cul-de-sac that the road could go through. Because usually there's a house.
Yeah, they're more like bulb outs that are for fire trucks, so that they're able to, in case there's a fire down one of those roads, that a truck can turn around.
Okay.
But they do operate and look kind of like a cul-de-sac.
Yeah, they're technically a temporary turnaround
Yeah.
on the plat.
Okay.
Yep.
Makes sense. Okay, that's good. Got any more questions? This will obviously be in the
No.
next meeting, so we can ask more.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Jackson, you want to take the item number 8?
Let me jump to this other slide. So tonight for your consideration is the bid award for Resolution 2608. If you recall, we've received 2 transportation grants from the Davis County COG. One is for 3200 West and West Hillfield Road, which is shown in red, and the other is for West Hillfield Road from 2700 West to 3200 West. So just as a reminder, the transportation reimbursement grant agreements allow for 80% of the total committed or authorized costs or expenses to be paid with those grants, and that the work needs to be complete by June 30th of 2027. So we did receive $4 million between the 2 projects. Talking with Davis County, we were going to possibly bid these as separate projects, but then asked if we could bid them together, thinking that we could get some good economies of scale on it. I think you'll see with the bid amount, the bids came in at about $3.7 million. Our estimate was 4.2, so we feel like we saved quite a bit of money by bidding these together. So we've talked quite a bit about this one previously. 3200 West will close the gaps in the sidewalk and widen the road out to make a safe walking path for a lot of the residents of the community, as well as widening out West Hillfield Road so that it's a complete roadway down there on the south end. This project on Hillfield Road, we would complete the sidewalk and curb and gutter on the south side of the road in this area, and then also widen out and complete the curb and gutter on the north side in this area, and then extend the secondary water system from the point that we stopped with our 2700 West project out to this area. One thing to note is this subdivision has had dry secondary water lines in it since its inception. This would actually connect that up, and we'll have to go through and make sure that we don't have any leaks in the system, but there's a potential that those residents could then start receiving secondary water through our system. So, is there any questions I can answer on that one?
Good job on
Any chance there's one of those across the street? Hiding?
Yeah, no, I'm supporting it.
Yeah, well, that's good.
I do have a question, it's not really related to you. The property owner spoke to me last night, the major property owner. Yeah.
So there's 2 of them.
Yeah, the major one.
Okay.
I can say Stanley
Yeah.
contacted me last
Yeah.
night, or me and him spoke. He hasn't, what he relayed to me is the property, we haven't closed or purchased the.
No,
what-
I think we're pretty close. I don't know what he relayed to you. I actually tried to reach out. I tried to get a hold of him today so I could give you guys the most up-to-date info, but I wasn't able to get a hold of him. But I think we're.
I think Alex can relay that. That's heartburn to me, that we
Yeah.
haven't purchased the property. I think it's unfair if something happens and we have to delay the project. It's unfair to the contractor that bid on this, because
Right.
he's planning for that workload for this summer's work and so on. So then he has to deviate and look for other work. So that's
Yeah.
kind of the one thing. And then I want to be very proactive with the landowners to make sure that they feel comfortable that they're being compensated fairly and
Yeah.
understand everything.
I think he is. I can have a conversation with you about it, but
Okay.
I think it's pretty
He
close.
felt that way, but he
Yeah.
just said that there hasn't been much contact for a few months now.
Well, I don't know about a few months, but yeah, it's close. I don't foresee any issue.
There is, if I could, Mike, in the contract, it does state that they can't enter the property until all of that is taken care of, and
Yeah.
there's.
Like you mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
Steve, it's actually more economically feasible for the contractor to just
Yeah.
go and do the work
Yeah.
and not have that hold up.
Yeah.
And in my 20 years of procurement for government entities, that was one thing, is to make sure that our contractors are actually given the correct information so that they can bid it correctly and then perform, because they're in a business to make a profit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Yeah, and,
Yeah, I can,
I'd love,
on the way in.
let me ask this question to Steve then. Project schedule, when do you anticipate in allowing the contractor to break ground and start working?
so they could start as soon as the weather permits for them.
Which
Obviously,
now is
yeah,
now.
I mean, this winter has been great. What we do want to do is get the irrigation work done. That's where Clint is working to try and get that closed, because Stan Layton does have the irrigation system that we need to get modified before that April timeframe, but then they could start at any time. and move
Could we
forward.
try to at least get them, well, we can discuss this later, but I'd really love to see it under contract or.
No, I
or
think,
something prior
the
to
next,
construction.
the next city council meeting, you'll have an agreement to consider.
That
Yeah.
holds you to that.
No,
Okay,
well,
we still have one more item.
I'll call you if I can't get a hold of him. Maybe you can help me.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
You,
That's
Steve,
it.
that's good. Okay, that's, our main action items here, but we do have a closed door session that we need to go into, yet for the remainder of the time. So with that, I would look for a motion to go into a closed door session.
I'll make such motion.
Okay, have a second?
Second.
Going out to our Layton City Council meeting this evening for February 5th. We appreciate your small patience here. We do have a prior meeting, and sometimes we need to take a quick break. So with that, I'd like to call our meeting to order. And as customary, we start out our meeting with a prayer and a pledge, and we take turns up here on the dais. So tonight, I'm going to turn the time over to our newest council member, Mr. Mike Calendrianos.
Let us pray to the Lord of all. Almighty, eternal God, in peace we come before you, and we implore of your majesty and your infinite goodness. Look down now upon this gathering of city leaders and grant them illumined hearts and minds as they strive to serve their fellow citizens. Grant upon them and their advisors and counselors wisdom and grace and the spirit of service, that they may embrace the need of all Americans and shine the light of good government for every person, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Finally, preserve and protect and defend our first responders, our servicemen and women who daily safeguard our freedoms so that we prosper in tranquility and we can all be blessed. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
You gotta keep it on.
Tell everybody.
Please rise and take the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate that participation and the prayer, and acknowledge the type of faith that we have here in our city. So I'm very honored to hear that. Before we go on to our minutes, I do want to acknowledge we do have one of our youth council sitting with us here tonight, which is James Cornelius, who is, just so you know, the youth council is part of Layton City, and we want them to experience what we experience on their level. And so each one of them hold a different position. And I almost called you beef. I was going to say, Mr. Cornelius here is actually the youth city manager. So with that, do you want to just take a moment and explain or let us know how you think, what your feelings are about the youth council and your experience?
Yep. I got the opportunity to become involved with the youth council about a year and a half ago now. It's been so awesome. I've enjoyed every second of it. It's been a lot of fun. It's been an eye-opener. I would have not known hardly anything about all of this in local government. I've realized how important it is to stay involved. It's just been a lot of fun. I highly recommend it to anybody that's interested in joining.
Excellent. We appreciate that. Mr. Thomas.
Well, if we want to talk to the city manager, we can go to you now?
Kind of on a special note here, the nice thing about having James Cornelius with us is the fact that he happens to be one of the students that reside on the base. And we'd like to acknowledge the fact that all the families at Hill Air Force Base is part of our community. And so it's exciting to have them on our youth council. So with that, we're glad you're here, and we appreciate all the hard work you've been doing. I've seen you at many events, so you're very engaged. Okay, council, I'm now going to go on to our minutes. We have several sets of minutes here this evening, so if you could, I'd appreciate someone making the motion, stating the minutes, providing there are no changes. If there's any changes, please let it be known now. Okay, seeing that there's none, I'd look for a motion for the minutes.
Let's do it.
Thank you.
Hey, Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the minutes of Layton City Work Meeting November 6, 2025, the minutes of Layton City Council Meeting November 6, 2025, the minutes of Layton City Council Work Meeting November 20th, 2025, the minutes of Layton City Council Work Meeting December 4th, 2025, the minutes of Layton City Council Work Meeting December 18th, 2025, and the minutes of Layton City Council Meeting December 18th, 2025, as in our packet.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second that we approve the minutes as written and stated here this evening. So all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much. We'll now go on to our municipal announcements. So any of the council members that have additional responsibilities and need to report, please do so at this time.
Tomorrow night, when you're sitting around bored, which it's a Friday, they're having a dance. So this will be great for the women. The men all kind of hide when we say dance. But it's a Valentine's dance at Central Davis Junior High in what I call the new gym, even though it's 10 or 12, I don't know how old it is now. But anyway, starts at 6:30, goes to 8:30. They have a great band. That's one thing I do know. And they also have an orchestra. The Layton City Orchestra will be there to do some numbers, and I think they're going to teach. They won't do the Virginia Reel, but they'll probably do a minuet because it's celebrating our 250 years. It's our birthday for the nation. So anyway, that's tomorrow night. So come on out.
Okay. Thank you.
Did I do okay? Okay.
Okay, anyone else? Absolutely, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Hello, citizens of Layton. I just want to take personal privilege tonight to acknowledge that my mom is in the audience. And she doesn't want me to say that, but she doesn't get to come often, and so I'm glad she's here today. And also wanted to acknowledge that February 2026 represents the 100th year that our nation has recognized Black History Month. And so I think that's an awesome accomplishment for this to be 100 years of that celebration, as well as 250 years for our country. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing that there's none, then let's go ahead and drop down to item number 4, since we do not have any verbal petitions. So I'll now turn the time over to our citizens. This is the citizens' comment portion of our meeting, which we would welcome any recommendations or concerns that you have. We just ask that if you come up and state your name and what city you're from and the mic. And just for the record, just so you know, we don't typically get engaged in any dialogue or conversation back and forth. And the reason being is because we need to be compliant with the law, and we're not supposed to reply. But, however, we will take information and assure that we'll have action on it, or we'll have follow-up with our staff as well. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn the time over to our citizens. You're welcome to come up to the mic. I should have stated also that if you are here for the public hearing, we will open that up. So the time now is for anything except for those public hearings. So on the public hearings, we'll go ahead and reopen it up for comment. So go ahead.
Okay, hi. My name's Tara, and I'm a resident here of Layton. My husband and I moved here about 2 years ago with our dogs, and I'm here to express my support tonight for an off-leash dog park here in Layton. And so, as some of us are well aware, also, can everyone hear me? Fine? Okay. As some of us are well aware, there's currently very limited options for exercising dogs off-leash within Layton. Mm-hmm. And while these rules serve important purposes, they also leave us with very few places to let dogs run and socialize safely. So first, I believe that a park will strengthen community. Dog parks naturally bring people together, and for many residents, such as myself, as a remote worker, it's kind of hard to meet people in the area. Also for people who are new to the city too. So I think it'd provide a really good social area to foster new connections. Second, an off-leash dog park would help protect our trails and open spaces. While there are no off-leash areas, or when there are no off-leash areas available, some people may let their dogs off-leash on hiking trails and biking trails, such as the Shoreline Trail. And this may create conflicts with bikers, runners, wildlife, and other on-leash dogs. And so I think in support of community building and environmental stewardship and thoughtful planning for the city, I would just like to ask you to consider. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anyone else? Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Andy Oblad. I'm a resident of Farmington, so I'm a Davis County resident. I don't live in Layton. And I wanted to introduce myself to the mayor and the city council and the folks that are here. I'm running for sheriff and worked for the last years at the Davis County Sheriff's Office, the last 8 years at the Davis County Sheriff's Office. And I'll try to be brief. I wanted to give a little bit of background on who I am and what my qualifications are. I started in Salt Lake City, 1996, so almost 30 years ago, and I worked there for 21 years. Rose up through the ranks to be a lieutenant in Salt Lake City, and retired and went to work with Utah Jazz for a couple of seasons. I traveled around with them. I was their team security, and it sounds pretty glamorous when I tell people, but it wasn't a glamorous job. It was a lot of travel and a lot of time away from family. In 2019, Kelly Sparks was elected to be the sheriff of Davis County, and he appointed me to be his chief deputy over law enforcement. And I've been serving with Kelly Sparks for this is our 8th year. Kelly is retiring at the end of the year, and he's endorsing me to run for sheriff. And so if you know Kelly, talk to him. He'll tell you about me. My wife and our family, we live in Farmington. We love it. And I'll stick around after to try and meet anybody who wants to talk to me or ask questions about the county, the sheriff's office, and or what my vision is for the future. But it's nice to meet you, and thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, anyone else? Okay, seeing that there's none, let's go ahead then and move on to our consent items tonight. We have 6 consent items that will be presented. And what we do is we will have all items presented to us, and then we're able to take action on all of the items with one single action as a governing body, unless one of them should be removed and asked to be removed separately. So with that, I'll go ahead and start with the items. We'll start with item number A, and Kimberly Zagmont is going to, she's going to do both A and B, which is an appointment to some positions.
Yes,
So,
awesome.
Kimberly.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. So tonight I have the pleasure to present Resolution 2602, which introduces individuals the Mayor Petro has recommended for appointment to the Parks and Recreation Commission. So Mayor Petro appoints Tyrone Aranda to serve as a new member on the Parks and Recreation Commission, and appoint Linda Lartigue to serve as an alternate member on the Parks and Recreation Commission. Mayor Petro also recommends a reappointment of Austin Green and April Parker as members, and reappointment of Lamont Hampton as an alternate member to the Parks and Recreation Commission. I also want to take a moment to thank all the members of the commission for their willingness to serve the residents of Layton. So staff recommends the council adopt Resolution 2602 to appoint Tyrone Aranda and Linda Lartigue as new members in their respective roles, and then reappoint Austin Green, April Parker, and Lamont Hampton in their respective roles to the Parks and Recreation Commission for their designated terms of office. Are there any questions?
Any questions?
Are they on the ramp? Is that the second one?
Then next resolution will be for Ramp Commission.
So this one's just for
I'm
the
sorry.
Parks and Recs. So
Yeah.
actually,
Right.
I recognize one of them here, if you'd like to stand up
Yeah,
and,
there you go.
um,
He's lived here a few years.
yeah, Tyrone Aranda is here tonight, so he's one of them. Okay, is there any others? I don't see him. Okay, thank you. Okay, any other, do you guys have any questions or concerns, or? Okay, let's go ahead then and go on to item number B.
So this evening, I also have the pleasure to present Resolution 2603, which introduces individuals Mayor Petro has recommended for appointment to the Recreation Arts Museum and Parks Commission. So Mayor Petro recommends the reappointment of Julie Batchelor and Cameron Cross to serve as Ramp Advisory Commissioners, and then a new appointment for Bruce Finch and Jared Taylor to serve as new members of the Ramp Advisory Commission. We also thank those members of the Ramp Commission for their willingness to serve Layton residents. So staff recommends the council to adopt Resolution 2603, reappointing Julie Batchelor and Cameron Cross as members of the Ramp Advisory Commission, and appoint Bruce Finch and Jared Taylor as new members for the Ramp Advisory Commission for their designated terms in office. Do you have any questions about the Ramp Commission?
Any questions?
No question, Madam
Okay.
Mayor, but
All right.
may I just make a comment?
Absolutely, you're
Hopefully not out of line.
representative.
I've worked with both Julie Batchelor and Cameron Cross on the Ramp Commission, and they are dedicated and well organized. Cameron has been serving as the chair and has been instrumental in helping the application process, and is, once again, very organized and leads a good group. And Julie has been awesome. She's the athletic supporter of the group, loves softball, and just dedicated Layton residents wanting to make a difference in a role that's not, I mean, it's tough. It's not in the limelight, and yet they serve. And so I fully endorse both of those, and as reappointments, Mayor.
Okay,
Thank you.
you very much. Okay. Anyone else?
Is there anybody here from the ramp that's being put in tonight?
I don't see him.
Okay, that's what
Probably, yeah. No, it is a lot, there's a lot of work that goes into both of these commissions, and a lot of volunteer hours that we wholeheartedly appreciate, because again, commissions act as kind of like our gatekeepers and also advisors, so that this governing body can make the right decision and choices for what's best for the city. So I'm excited to, get both those commissions fulfilled. So thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, we'll now go on to item number C, which is a bid award on Hill Farms, actually, and Ms. Joellen Grandy is going to present that item for us.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and council members. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. Very excited to be able to bring before you this resolution. I do have a couple of slides. I know we've talked much about this as we've been procuring the land for this last stretch of trail, but just for those who may be in attendance, either in person or online, I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows where it is. So this is our active transportation plan. We have as part of our active transportation plan the Case Creek Trail System. Excuse me. This area down below it that's in red is our final last little segment to be able to connect the western section of the Case Creek Trail. Basically, this will mean that from Gentile Street near Main Street, you'll be able to ride or walk or roll on this trail all the way out to the Shorelands Preserve, which is so exciting for many of us. This is a zoomed-in aerial image that just will help you all to understand what we're referring to. It's this little piece right here that has not been connected yet. This is Angel Street, Layton Parkway, Weaver Lane. So we have this plan to be able to build about 700 linear feet of asphalt trail. And so tonight is the resolution to be able to bring before you the approval of executing an agreement with Layton City and Jersey Excavation Incorporated for this Case Creek Trail extension. On January 21st of 26, we received 8 bids, which was great. We had a really good, healthy amount of people submit for this project. And Jersey Excavation was identified as the lowest responsible bidder in the amount of $88,487. And so tonight, staff recommends that council adopt Resolution 2606, authorizing the city manager to conduct negotiations and execute the agreement between Layton City and Jersey Excavation Incorporated for construction of the Case Creek Trail Extension Project 2404. Are there any questions that I may be able to answer?
Council, you have any questions on this? You're welcome to make a comment.
Thank you. I don't have any questions except for I'm really happy to see that there are so many bids, because there was a time in the recent past where we were only getting 1 or 2 bids, and that makes it a little difficult to be up here and feel like you're doing a good job approving something or not. So glad to see that there were a number of bids on this, and also for this extension to be able to be completed, as you already stated. It's just a really good thing for the residents of our city.
Thank you.
And I will attest personally that this is a great connection here. I walk that trail, and there's been many times when you've had to go back into the neighborhood and walk around. So this is going to be nice to have a completed trail, and that's part of our overall active transportation focus as far as getting all of these trails connected. So thank you, Joellen, for your hard work on this. We really appreciate it.
You're most welcome. And again, I just want to express thanks to the property owners who helped to make this happen as well, and for everyone's support here too. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we'll go on to item number D here, and which is an appointment. Again, we're trying to fulfill all of our positions. This one is an appointment to the Wasatch Integrated Waste Management District Board. I have been sitting on that board for 5 years now, and I have been actively involved in it, so I'd like to propose that I continue to serve on that board at this time. And so with that, Council, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to take that. Okay. Seeing that there's none, let's go ahead and go on to item number E, which also is an appointment to the North Davis Sewer District Board of Trustees. And again, I serve on that board and have been actively involved. And in fact, I'm the current chair as well of that board. So once again, I'd like to continue serving in that capacity and need the support of the council. So any questions regarding that item? Okay. Thank you. Seeing that there's none, then we'll go ahead and move on to item number F of our consent items, which Mr. Steve Jackson will present the bid award with RJT Excavating.
Mayor, Council, it's good to be with you tonight. For your consideration is Resolution 2608, bid award to RJT Excavating for the West Hillfield Road 3200 West widening project. The project entails 2 separate funding sources that we received grants for from the Transportation Davis County COG. The first portion was for 3200 West between Gordon Avenue and West Hillfield Road, and then also West Hillfield from 3200 West to about 3700 West. And then the second was for West Hillfield Road from 2700 West to 3200 West. The project would entail closing the gaps in the sidewalk along 3200 West and widening out the existing asphalt to the full width of the roadway, as well as West Hillfield Road just north of the junior high school being widened to its full width as well. We do have one property owner that we're continuing to work with in discussions that we'll need to take care of, as we discussed in the work meeting. And so work on that portion of that property won't commence until we get that taken care of. The second portion of the project is West Hillfield Road from 2700 West, where we finished the other roadway. Continuing west, there will be a secondary water line connected in there, as well as curb gutter and sidewalk and asphalt along those sections that are not completed now. We received 7 bids for this one. RJT Excavating submitted the lowest responsible bid in the amount of $3,757,287.27, and the engineer's estimate was $4,240,000. Are there any questions that staff recommends that the council adopt Resolution 26-08, awarding the bid to RJT and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement for the project. Are there any questions that I can answer?
Any questions?
Not a question, but a comment maybe you can address to the public in general from our discussions in the work meeting. As a city government, we have to kind of go with the money that we have, right? The money that we collect. We can't print our own money. And you mentioned something about having the idea inside your department to take two separate projects and bid them with one specific bid. The idea is to try to save money. And the difference between the engineer's estimate and the lowest responsive bid was $482,000 in saved taxpayer funds. So Layton citizens and residents can know that the staff members, that's a lot of money. That's almost $500,000 that they saved by just thinking outside the box and doing something that saved us money. So I just wanted to publicly thank you, Steve, for doing that, because every dollar is important. It's all sacred funds from taxpayer money, and we appreciate you doing what you can to make sure our money goes as far as it can. So thank you.
Thank you.
Very good comment. Go ahead.
Madam Mayor.
Councilman Morse? Yes.
Thank you. Steve, piggyback off what Councilman Bloxham said, this is grant money that we received from the county. So I'm once again grateful for the county in allowing projects like these to go forward that benefits benefits Layton City, absolutely, but also residents of Davis County. And for being organized and looking for grant opportunities. If you just imagine if you weren't organized, disorganized, just like I don't know where the money, we would be not saving that money. We would not have this grant money. And so kudos to you and the staff for continuing to look for opportunities for grants to improve infrastructure, and in this case, safety as well. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Very good.
Steve, I want to also thank staff for this project. There's a big safety concern along that section with the junior high students walking there. I think this will go a long way to address that. I do have one question for Mr. Drake, just to clarify that the property owner that will complete that transaction or get an agreement in place prior to the start of construction.
Correct. Yeah, we have met with him several times. We anticipate that we'll have a contract for the council to consider at the next meeting.
Very good. Okay, any other comments? Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, council, that was our last consent item that was presented, so I'll bring it back to you to take action. If you could, please state the resolution and a briefing of what the resolution is, and then we can vote upon it in one single action. Okay, thank you.
All right, Madam Mayor, thank you. Just before I say that, I would like to say that it was nice for me to see Mr. Tyrone Aranda's name come across as a Park and Rec Commissioner. He was one of my neighbors as I was growing up as a kid. I used to ride my bike in his driveway. Yeah,
He is old.
It was an adventure. Don't mind Dave. All right. All right, Madam Mayor, I move that we approve Resolution 26-02, appointments to the Layton City Parks and Rec Commission. Resolution 26-03, Layton City Ramp Advisory Commission appointments. Resolution 26-06, a bid award for excavation. Resolution 26-05, appointment to the Board of Wasatch Integrated Waste Management District. Resolution 26-04, appointment to the North Davis Sewer District Board. And Resolution 26-08 for projects 23-70 and 24-57 for the completion and widening of West Hillfield Road.
Excellent. Well stated. Do I have a second?
Yeah, second, third.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we adopt the consent items as presented. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much. We'll now move on to our public hearing portion of our meeting. We do have 2 items. We'll go ahead and present the first item, then we'll open it up for public comment and leave it open as well as we deal with item B as well. So with that, I'm going to turn the time over to Morgan Cloward, who is part of our community block grant action plan. So he's going to present the plan for our fiscal year 2026-27. So, Mr. Morgan.
Thanks.
Cloward, excuse me.
Thanks, Mayor and Council. The Layton City Annual Action Plan. This upcoming plan that we're in the process of developing, it covers the program year of July 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2027. The plan outlines how the city will allocate its allotment of community development block grant funds during the upcoming program year. And the Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, their objectives focus on housing affordability and self-sufficiency. And the slide above shows the current program year of 2025-26 and our valued partners that are helping us with our housing and other initiatives that are so vital to the community, including home buyer assistance, which is our home down payment assistance grant, critical home repair rehab. Our partner, Habitat for Humanity, helps with that. Open Doors, public service partner, Safe Harbor, Youth Court, and Lantern House. Any questions about that?
No? Any questions before we open it up? Okay, excellent.
Thank you.
Okay, we appreciate you presenting that. Council, I'll look for a motion to open our public hearing at this time. Okay, I'll acknowledge that our public hearing is now open, so anyone in the audience that's wished to speak on behalf of our community block grant action plan, you're welcome to do so. Once again, step up to the mic and state your name and what city you're from.
Hi, Madam Mayor and Council. I am a representative for Habitat for Humanity, Greater Salt Lake area. One of our coverage areas is Davis County, Layton, Salt Lake County, as well as Tooele County. We have been working closely with Morgan Cloward, and we appreciate that relationship that we have, that we've been building, and we're starting to get traction in Layton City. Habitat for Humanity, one of our pillars is critical home repairs, housing stability. We understand that housing affordability is a big topic, but it's also important to keep people stable in their homes. We serve low to moderate income homeowners, and we look at any critical repairs that are health, safety, or energy, anything from roofs to furnaces, water heaters, windows. And we appreciate the consideration that this group gives Habitat and allows us to come in and provide that service. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Mayor, City Council. I'm Carlene Kidman, the Director of the Layton Youth Court, and I brought some kids. Well, I guess you are a kid too, with me. I didn't know if I was going to make it tonight, so I'm going to turn time over to them in just a minute. But we're in our 28th year, and we just want to thank you for all the support you've given us for over all these years. We really couldn't do what we do to help all these youth if it wasn't for your support, and we just ask you to continue to support us with this grant so that we can continue and do some of the good things we're doing. I just wanted to tell you, 8% of our members of our youth court are former offenders. So that's where they've turned their lives around, and now we're on the panel helping other youth. So that's pretty good. I don't know if any other youth court in the state can say that like we can. I'm also president of the Utah Youth Court Association and chair of the Utah Youth Court Advisory Board. And we've been collecting data from the whole state. And just so you know, Layton has the most cases that we've seen of all the youth courts in the state. And there's 29 youth courts. And it's been really interesting. Over the last 5 years, we've collected data on 4,150 cases statewide, with a 90% completion rate statewide. And I don't know any other program that's with courts and youth that can claim that. Layton Youth Court has a higher one than that, but these kids will tell you. But that's phenomenal for a program statewide to have that kind of response. So with that, I just want to thanks for your support, and I'm going to let them talk for a second.
Hi, I'm an adult technically. My name's Caitlin, and I've been doing it. This will be my 7th year. So I started as a youth, and now I'm an adult. And I just also wanted to say thank you for your support, because I wouldn't be able to do this if it weren't for the help that you guys give us. And I know I see you guys leaving when we do youth court, so it's always cool to say hi to you guys and know that you are in our community and we can go to you whenever we need help as well. So.
Hi, I'm Nat. I'm currently a youth on the council on youth court. I've been this is my 3rd year, current president. I would also like to thank you guys for the support. Interacted with you guys a few times. Always been positive interactions and really enjoy the support you guys give us.
And I'll just close with, they're a little nervous, so it's okay. We have our completion rate from last year. We received 142 cases, and it's 96% completion rate. And I can tell you why those 7 kids didn't complete. So we work on it really hard. This year, we've already received, our year is fiscal year, 64 cases. So youth have been getting into trouble, and multiple times. So thank you for all your support, and please just keep supporting us with this grant so we can go forward and keep doing the good we're doing. Any questions?
Yeah, I got a big question.
Okay.
Did you start this?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
I mean, I was part of it.
Well, you were part of it, but you've been here 28 years.
Yeah, I've been here 28 years.
Yeah, I wish we had a plaque. I mean, to think what you've gone from, I remember, before, and now you're actually doing court cases, and stuff like that, where you're helping these kids out, giving them an opportunity to maybe not go through a different situation, give them an opportunity to say, yeah, I need to change or something. So I want to give you the recognition, the applause, whatever it is. But thanks for what you've done.
Thank you. Just a side note really fast, I was just at a winter conference with CTC in Ogden, and one of the speakers was one of the city council members from Farmington, and she was one of my original youth court girls back when she was in high school. So it's kind of fun to see them all grow up and do fabulous things that they're doing. So anyway, so thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Carlene, and to echo what Councilman Thomas says, you've done an excellent job with these kids, but more importantly, I'm proud to see these kids here tonight and champion this program, because really it's peers, judging peers and helping them get back on the right track. And when they say they're here late at night, they are here late at night. They put in the hours. So once again, thank you for your volunteerism in helping this Layton become a better community. So thank you very much.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Jason Wild. I'm the Executive Director of Open Doors, and the CDBG funding that you've awarded to us over the last several years has gone towards our programs. First, our Crisis Respite Nursery, where we take care of kids while moms take care of other business that they need to. It's a safe place for children to go. So we're watching kids, but we're really helping moms. And I'll just say that 25% of the families that use our Crisis Respite Nursery are Layton residents and Layton families. And 96% of those families, after using the nursery, we do a little survey after every one, and 96% consistently for the past several years have said that using the Crisis Respite Nursery strengthens their families and decreases the stress in the home. So it's a really essential service to give time-out breaks for moms. Secondly, it helps us fund a little bit of our food bank. About 30% of the families that use our food bank are Layton families, Layton residents. So it's slightly over 3,000 families that are using our food bank who are from Layton, and we just provide emergency food supplies for anybody who comes to do that. Thirdly, as noted up there, there's we have $6,000 for prevention of homelessness, and this is really for us to, in emergency situations, put families in a hotel or a motel for a few nights, especially as they're bridging, like leaving, either getting evicted and trying to get into a new place. And the fastest way to homelessness is to get an eviction and have no place to go. And we try to bridge that gap before they have to enter the system, because once you enter that system, it sticks you. So just I appreciated the mayor's comments about Hill Air Force Base, right? Our airmen and their families, they're our community, and they have a lot of stresses, and they need help, and especially during shutdowns that last 40-something days or longer, however that was. That we actually helped one of those families with our motel voucher program during that time. It was a family that was going through a divorce situation and in the process of moving to a new assignment. And in the few days between leaving their apartment in our community, they had nowhere to go. They had enough money for one apartment, but the husband and wife just couldn't stay in the same hotel. So we caught wind of it. We were able to offer them offer the hotel room for the other party, and then they were able to take care of their kiddos using our nursery, our food bank, getting some hygiene supplies in those 3 days between their assignments when one of them would have been homeless or sleeping in their car. So we just want to thank you for your support. It's really helpful to our community, including our Hill Air Force Base neighbors. Thank you.
Hey, Jason?
Yes.
What about your Circles program? Isn't that part of it too?
I
Just
don't
in
think
addition.
our CDBG program is funding our Circles program, but our Circles program is having enormous success right now. We're having more people get out of poverty than we've ever seen before in the last year, higher numbers, and man, it's a great program to help people out of poverty. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for all you do. We appreciate it. Okay, next.
Mayor, Council, my name is Todd Hickson. I'm the Executive Director for Safe Harbor Crisis Center. Assembly Hillstead, she is our Development Director. As I thought about how I want to tell you a little bit about ourselves, the first thing I wanted to say was thank you. It takes a team to accomplish a lot of these challenging tasks. And you guys, as a city and a board or a council and a mayor, have been incredibly helpful and supportive of us. As most people know, we're a domestic violence sexual assault service provider, and we deal with some of the more challenging, parts of people's lives. And so the services that we're able to provide are incredibly critical. So far, for the first 2 quarters of this last fiscal year, we have helped provide services to 398 Layton residents. Layton is the city that, as I often refer to, our biggest customer. So we're just incredibly grateful. Thank you every year for being supportive and helping us. And I just kind of want to turn time over to Emily and allow her to say a few words.
Yes, thank you. Again, my name is Emily Hillstead, and I'm the Development Director at Safe Harbor Crisis Center. I want to just build off of what Todd's mentioned about saying thank you to all of you. There is a lot of work to do in not only Utah, but all in our county. And we can only do it as a community. I always think about one of the clients that we can speak about fled from a different state and chose Utah. And not only chose Utah, but chose Layton to live in and flee to. because they knew and they heard that we were a community that cared and would help. And when that client came to Safe Harbor Crisis Center, they were paired with advocates, from housing advocates to shelter advocates to therapy, to a place where they are now a part of our community and building an activity of dance for those around them that they can also help our community. So she moved from one area that they didn't feel safe to a community that she did feel safe in. And again, I just want to say thank you for the grant, and just everything else that you guys do for us. And would like to invite anybody. I know it's far away, but November is Evergreens. It's our 30th year of Evergreens, so it's a spectacular moment. And so I invite everybody to come and see our stuff. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You guys provide a very desperately needed service here, and we appreciate it. Thank you. Anyone else? No, no questions? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Is there anyone else?
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I'm Marcy Clark, and I'm from the Davis County Health Department. And we are seeking CDBG funds to sustain and support the Davis Links Resource Directory. For many years, we've heard from community members what services and resources are available in our community and how do we access them. And this online resource directory fills that gap. So the resource directory has about 2,000 local resources and services in it. Each of these wonderful programs that have been presented tonight are in the directory. We all brush shoulders together as we're in lots of meetings, and we want the community to know about these important services and resources. And they are all in the resource directory. The directory has services for all phases of life and for basic needs like food and housing, as well as mental health and physical activity, family support. It is available in 130 different languages, so it's very accessible to our community members. And the funding would help to sustain the directory, to help community members become aware of the directory, and to also continue to add resources that are important to the community in the directory. The directory is available at davislinks.org. It's free online directory. So we'd appreciate your consideration.
Can I ask a question? So tell us what type of funding did you receive to stand this up, and what type of funding are you even looking for?
So the funding that we initially used to set it up was COVID funding, and that was planned. That funding was going to be planned to sustain it for a little bit, but that was pulled prematurely. And so the health department will put in some funding to it. We are seeking funding from CDBG funding from Layton, from Clearfield, and then we're going to seek Davis County SSBG funding as well to support it.
Okay, so you'd accept anything then, is what I'm hearing from you, not a specific dollar amount?
You're asking for a specific dollar amount of what we're asking? We're asking for $10,000 in our grant application. Is that what you're asking?
From Layton City?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. Yes, that's what I was driving at. I didn't know what you were after.
Yes, and the reason is because as we've been going out in the community and sharing this, I think it was at COG when the mayors, some of the mayors learned about the Davis Links online resource directory, and they said, well, why don't you apply for CDBG funding to sustain it? So it was suggested from city mayors.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Any discussion here, council? Yeah. Do you want to discuss it or accept it as?
I guess I appreciate you coming and asking for funding because we have. Did we hear from Lantern House? Are they here? Okay. Because we've had this discussion before. I've actually made this same comment before that we do respect your taking time out of your schedules, especially when it's an evening night, to not just assume that you're going to get the funding and not show up. So I appreciate you showing up, and I appreciate all of you guys for coming and sharing what you do because, we want to make sure that these funds are going in the place that's required. Now, maybe I had a question for Morgan. If I could. Morgan, you're awesome. This is like your time to shine. Every time I see you coming up, I'm like, it's CDBG day because we get to talk to Morgan. So tell me maybe a little bit about that request we just had and whether you think this and why maybe you don't see it as fitting in the public service subgrants, which are capped at 15%. And so just maybe tell me about where that came from and your thought process.
Yeah, unfortunately, we are saddled with that 15% cap for our public service partners. I wish it was something that we could do away with because we could do a lot of good with those funds. But that's where it is right now. And as I mentioned in the work meeting earlier today, the main focus that we're tasked with HUD is to make sure these funds are focused mainly on housing type of activities to help people so they can have safe, affordable housing, and then self-sufficiency is another highlight that we should be focused on.
So like the Davis Links is really just to try to get what she was saying was it's to kind of be a place where these folks could have more interactions from the community where they'd be known more, right? Where maybe they'd get more services and maybe the funds would be used better. But Lantern House, remind me what they do again?
It's a homeless shelter.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just a homeless shelter. That's,
right. Yep. And they service our homeless persons from Layton City. They been a partner with us for about 8 or 9 years, and yeah, the funds that we provide help with our citizens, yeah.
And so you see just having them being a service provider themselves is a better use of the funds than kind of an aggregator of here's all the information potentially in the community that you should know about.
We'd have to take a look at that with our CDBG committee. That's our next step after this meeting is myself and the other members of that committee will look at all the applications that come in that are due next month, and we'll just weigh the needs and see what benefits we can get from all these partners and which ones we would recommend to you in May to approve. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thanks for the additional information. I just would, I do appreciate actually being here. I think that's an important part of grant funding. So that's my 2 cents. And I appreciate and look forward to hearing what you have to say when you come back in May, Morgan. So thank you.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? You what? Oh, they answered your question.
My question was answered because we were looking at the 25-26 funding. So this is current funding that is being used throughout the remainder of this year. And then we know we're on public hearing tonight, but as Morgan mentioned, this is just the beginning of this process. So we'll hear more later. We'll also see a budget suggestion for 26-27, but what we're looking at tonight is what's currently being used, what's currently budgeted. So that was just my clarity.
Okay. Yep. Thank you. Okay. If there's no other action on this, then I may need some clarification here from the attorney. Knowing that this item will probably keep the public hearing open, because
it can be closed. When it comes back up in May, it'll be another public hearing. It'll be fine.
Okay. All right. Okay. But we won't take any action, though, tonight, so we probably ought to deal with these individually is what I'm driving at here. So, okay, so...
Yeah, you could just leave that open for that if you'd like to, if that makes it easier for you. Either way is fine.
We have in the past, but certainly, you know, this council can decide if you want to keep it open or go ahead and close it tonight. Okay, seeing that we're going to leave it open, then no action will be taken on this item number A of the public hearing. So we'll now go ahead and move on to item number B, which is a rezone request. And Brad McElrath is going to present this item for us.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you stated, this is a rezone request. It's for the Heinz at 3 Farms. This is located at approximately 2746 West Gentile Street. This is the location in Layton City. You can see it's on the west side of Layton. And then this is the property, and you can see the zoning all around. So you have RS zoning that's to the west, and then agricultural zoning that is surrounding it, the majority of the property, and also the village center zoning. The total acreage of the rezone request is 30.5 acres, and you can just see a closer view here. These are the different streets that this subdivision would connect into. You have 150 North, 75 North to the west, as well as 325 North. Those will be connections into this subdivision. There's also the proposal to connect to 2700 West. So this shows the overall area as part of the rezone. And then with the application, the applicant did provide a concept plan. As stated in your packet, this is just a concept at this point, not exactly approving. If you were to approve the rezone tonight, you wouldn't be approving this concept. There are some things that still need to be corrected to meet engineering standards, and so it would still be required to go through the preliminary and then final subdivision plat process before they move forward. On January 13th, the Planning Commission reviewed the rezone request and forwarded a recommendation of approval to the City Council on a unanimous vote, and the City staff concurs with that recommendation by the Planning Commission and recommends that the City Council adopt Ordinance 2601 to approve this rezone request to R110. Any questions for staff?
Council, any questions?
Yeah, just ignorance. I look up there and it says 58-foot right-of-way. Is that normal?
That is.
Or, I mean, I just wondered why it would be put there.
Yep. Yeah, so a 58-foot right-of-way is our standard right-of-way width for a residential street.
Okay.
A residential collector street that goes into a neighborhood and handles most of the traffic is 62 feet, but 58 is the standard residential right-of-way.
Okay.
Just a reminder that that's not just the road, that's curb, gutter, sidewalk.
Yep, correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? No? You'll wait? Okay. Okay, very good. What we'll do now is just go ahead and turn it over to anyone in the audience that wishes to comment on item number B of our public hearing at this time. No one? Nope. Once again, let me remind you just to state your name and what city.
My name is Carlos. I live actually on 75 North, one of the streets that's going to go through. I've never been to one of these meetings, so I'm not sure how this all works.
It's okay.
So forgive me if I ask the wrong question, because I'm not sure how this works. Since I'm in that cul-de-sac, I'm just wondering, the road, I guess, is going to go through straight. So would they, in that process, do they return that part of the land that's in the circle back to my house? Or how does that work, I guess? I'm not quite understanding.
No, that's an excellent question. I'm going to let Brad answer that for you.
Okay.
Good question, Carlos. So yeah, you're in the Bella Vista not the Bella Vista subdivision. It's a Bella subdivision. Sorry, excuse me. I can't remember. I think that's the last name of the subdivision. But yes, on the subdivision plat of the subdivision that you live in, it is actually just a temporary turnaround right now for a fire truck to turn around. So as that subdivision happens, it'll be required that they do dedicate that land back to you. So that was a question and a concern that was brought up in the Planning Commission meeting, was whether or not property owners there would be losing property. You'd actually be gaining property there, because it'll be straightened out, and then it wouldn't be the temporary turnaround anymore.
And then I have one more quick question. I know that there's like a ditch that the farmers would get water, and it kind of comes through my
property, there's like a big hole there that the water runs through for the farmers. Would they fix that as well as the stuff on my property, or would it stay like that?
Well, we'll have to look into that a little bit with our engineering staff. I know that like with all of our subdivisions, the water rights are granted there, and so if they are no longer running water to those properties, it likely would be that, you know, that ditch gets closed off or piped. But that would be something that we would address as part of the subdivision approval. But for sure, something that we do need to address.
Okay. And do I need to follow up on that myself?
Yeah, we'd be happy to follow up with you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. That was all. Thank you.
No, excellent questions. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Seeing that there's none, I'll go ahead and bring it back to the council then for action. Regarding our public hearings, council, I'd need you to, in your statement, please state that we'll be keeping the public hearing open if you choose to on the community block grant, but we will close the public hearing on the rezone request and go ahead and take action on it. Yeah, I need one of you guys to take action. Yeah, so you got to make a motion.
Close public. Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we close public hearing for item B only.
And that you would like to propose that we...
Sorry, I'm new at this, so give me a minute. So,
Like to accept, and then you need to say if you want to make a motion to accept.
and I'd like to make a motion to accept rezone request Hines at 3 Farm.
Okay, it's been moved in second. So being that it's a public hearing, I'll take a roll call vote on this. I'll start down here with Councilmember Bloxham.
Yeah, before I vote, I just wanted to say thank you to the property owner and to the developer for coming to us with a beautiful R110 piece of property. We appreciate, I know I as a council member appreciate that very much, and I vote affirmative.
Okay. Councilmember Thomas?
I don't know what affirmative is, but I vote aye.
Aye. Okay, that's an aye. Councilmember Smith Edmondson?
Aye.
Okay. Councilmember Clendranos? Aye. Okay, and Councilmember Morris?
Aye.
Okay, there you have it. It's unanimous that we accept the rezone request for the Hines at 3 Farms. And with that, that concludes our meeting for this evening, unless there's any unfinished business that you need. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
You'd like to?
Yes, adjourn.
I'll accept his motion to adjourn and thank everyone for being here this evening and for the, especially having the youth join us, both from the youth court and the youth council, which is a great night to have them with us. So thank you, everyone, and have a good night.